commandos will be marching down the Rajpath. So we go where they are. Heartfelt conversations and inside track with the men behind the machines. With the defenders of India. Armour, they say, is the king of the battlefield. In Indian Army's history, armour has time and again proven its might. It is a journey that began with the very first conflict India faced while evicting Pakistani intruders from Jammu and Kashmir in the winter of 1948. Back then, a nascent nation saw its army utilizing the firepower of tanks at mine-dumping heights in order to flush out the enemy. The journey did not stop there. Through the 60s and 70s and to this day, India's armour continues to play a pivotal part in pulverizing the enemy, whether in war or in counter-terrorism. Perhaps is this realization which is behind India's latest move, that of deploying these men and their awe-inspiring machines at unprecedented heights in Ladakh and Sikkim, where they've joined their brother foot soldiers in a bid to keep the enemy in check. But what goes into the making of the tank man? This incredible arm, after all, has since independence produced 2 Paramveer Chakra and 15 Mahavir Chakra awardees, the country's highest awards for gallant actions.
Jai Shriman! Jai Shriman! Alwar Air Sahib! Jai Shriman! ठीक है, उनको सीटिंग अरेंजमेंट में भेजो। जय श्रीमान! जय।
तो आर्मी में कभी आए आप? रिक्रूट कब हुए?
सर 22 तारीख को वहाँ से सिलेक्शन हो गया। यहाँ 24 को पहुँचे हम लोग।
तो पहली बार आपके बाल जा रहे हैं?
या
कैसा लग रहा है?
हाँ, बाल तो अभी जा रहे तो अच्छा तो नहीं लगेगा, फिर तो आ भी जाएगा ना।
आ भी जाएगा?
आ जाएगा।
Training, especially in the case of young recruits, is all about disrupting their comfort zone and routine and making that disruption the new normal. It is a job the Ahmednagar-based Armoured Corps Centre and School knows only too well. While 19 weeks of basic training is common to all soldiers in the army, the Armoured Corps takes it a notch ahead. At 62 weeks or 1.5 years, the Armoured Corps is said to have the longest, most grueling training schedule among all arms. I'm sure you've heard this saying before of turning boys into men. There's no better place than the basic training regimen that actually exemplifies the same. Fresh recruits come here early in the day from railway stations, and then through a 19-week-long grueling course, they're basically turned into basic soldiers, after which they go into their respective schools. However, what you must know is that when you are a part of a tank crew, every member has to know how to drive, and that's the reason why after they become basic soldiers, they get into the school for driving, after which they go into their respective areas of specialization. Having started their day at 4 and completed a 75-minute long PT session, a hot, carefully crafted nutritional meal awaits the recruits. That is where we met 23-year-old Sahil Chaudhary, who hails from Kathua in Jammu and Kashmir. While his career in the army only began in September last year, his commitment to the cause was hard to look away from.
Till 10th class, sir, I have seen the army life, sir. So they are well disciplined. Even most of friends are from army background. So from since childhood, sir, I am very passionate about to join Indian Army, sir. So sir, I have gave NDA exam, sir, 2 times, but I am not able to clear, sir. Then sir, as right now I'm 22, sir, मैंने देखा कि sir, my age was running, and sir, for joining the Indian Army, sir, there is an age limit, sir.
Yes.
Then sir, I joined the Indian Army as a soldier, so I can get much opportunity for officer, sir. My ultimate goal is to be officer in Indian Army, sir.
To achieve his dreams, Sahil is working harder than what is required, even if that means not getting time to call back home as often as his parents would like him to.
Sir, CEO sir had taken my interview, and while interview, sir, after interview, sir, they gave some recommendation to me that you are not good in psychology test. So each Sunday, sir, they call me and sir teach me about how to improve your psychology, sir. And sir, the areas where I'm weak, sir, they teach me how to improve that area, sir. Whenever sir, I got time, sir, in evening, sir, I call them, sir.
So do they complain that you don't call them very often and that you are not?
Yes, sir. Mostly they said, "Are you okay? Yeah, you didn't call yesterday." So that time I told, sorry, I didn't get time. So, sir, especially how's you? Right. And are you okay?
Sahil's course mate Umang Bhinchar from Haryana's Hisar came to the army in October last year. He dreams of becoming a tank gunner, but is at present excited at the changes he's feeling within on account of the vigor of his training.
So I found that I was a little bit obese in my civil life, sir. So when I came here in just 1.5 months, I started losing my weight. Sir, I lost 5 to 7 kgs, and I'm gaining my physical fitness, sir, day by day. You can say the body is increasing, the biceps and all the physical muscles, they are like tight. And I'm feeling very relaxed and rough and tough. So tanks is the most important weapon in defense forces, in Indian defense.
Why?
Because it looks like as a monster. So like the enemy is standing. So the most important thing in the defense is the tank. So it can devastate the enemy in a very large numbers.
What did you feel when you first heard it fire and move?
So it looked like a bomb, and it just cleared everything, sir. The sound that after firing, the sound comes, and it looks like everything is devastated, sir. Yes.
So one shot and everything is devastated.
Yes, sir.
So does that impress you? Does that want you to?
Yes, sir. It definitely impressed me, sir.
It attracts you to the tank?
Yes, sir. So I want to be a gunner, sir. That I can just kill that enemy to protect our nations.
We then asked Umang what he felt about the job he was training for, and his answer left us with no words.
The soldier dies, sir. Every man of the country weeps, sir. Sir, we have to protect the nation so that everybody can sleep in their bed at night peacefully, sir, and calmly, sir. Sir, I just want to tell, sir, people should do something for the country, sir. Because country is first, sir. Because if all the people do for the country at little amounts, so it will benefit at a large amount, sir.
Sawar Manohar Singh Rathore from Jodhpur in Rajasthan has the onerous task of converting civilians, young boys in fact, like Sahil and Umang, into men who will tomorrow hold the reins of India's tanks. We asked him what was the single biggest message he strived hard to inculcate among his students.
जैसे लेफ्टिनेंट अरुण खेत्रपाल साहब हमारे 17 पूना उसके जो साहब थे, तो 71 की वार के अंदर उनका टैंक ऑफ रोड होने के बाद भी जो बसंतर नाले के अंदर जब उन्होंने का टैंक ऑफ रोड हो गया, सिर्फ उनकी गन ही काम कर रही थी फायरिंग के दौरान, तो उनको पीछे से ये भी मतलब हमारे को भी हमारे सीनियर साहब लोगों ने बताया कि उनको रेडियो पे मैसेज मिला था कि आप अपना वापस पीछे आ जाइए, लेकिन उन्होंने बोला नहीं, अगर मैं आ गया तो यहाँ से बसंतर नाले से ये इन कर जाएंगे। तो उसको देख के हमारे को और भी ज़्यादा गर्व महसूस होता है कि एक आर्मर कोर का एक बंदा मतलब शत्रु को काफ़ी देर डिले कर सकता है। हम अपनी बता सकते हैं कि जो ये इतिहास है ऐसा मतलब बाकी नहीं कर सकते, जो आर्मर कोर का एक बंदा कर सकता है। मैंने जैसे आपको अभी बताया था लेफ्टिनेंट अरुण खेत्रपाल साहब ने, एक टैंक उनके पास एक ही टैंक था, ऑफ रोड था, तो ऑफ रोड होते हुए भी उन्होंने अपने सिर्फ फायरिंग उनका गन काम कर रहा था, उससे उनको रोक दिया था, स्टे कर दिया था। तो जब वो ऑफ रोड इतना कर सकता था ऑन रोड की, तो मतलब कहना भी कम है।
Apart from gallantry, there is one more lesson from Khetarpal's valiant tale that the army has institutionalized. That is the merit in keeping a tank alive and functioning at all times. That principle is the reason why a recruit is trained not in one but two of the total 3 roles that a tank has, namely that of driver, gunner and operator. Where tanks succeed, victory follows. That's the spirit imbibed in each and every one of them. Behind me, you can see our gunners, drivers and operators, the future of India's tanks. Once they leave this ground, for which they're of course preparing for their passing out parade, they will become the Savars of India's armored corps. The road on which recruits Sahil and Umang have just begun for their seniors is about to take a sharp turn.
Number 1! Carry on!
A resident of Ghazipur in Uttar Pradesh, recruit Deepak Yadav is a farmer's son. What lit the spark of soldiering in his mind was exposure to films like Border. Having completed his basic training, Deepak is ready for specialization.
साहब यहाँ फौज में सब डिसिप्लिन है साहब, और साहब और टैंक पे जो रहते हैं हम लोग साहब वो कोऑर्डिनेशन बना के रहते हैं साहब। साहब मुश्किलों में हम लोग एक साथ रहते हैं और एक साथ में रह के ट्रेनिंग करते हैं, कठिनाइयों में सब एक साथ रहते हैं और एक साथ खाना पीना, एक साथ सोना, एक साथ डिसिप्लिन, सब फौज है।
With 17 years of service behind him, Instructor Mangal Singh, who hails from Gwalior in Madhya Pradesh, tells us why what Deepak just said is relevant.
हमारा एक ही मकसद होता है मेन, एक गोला एक दुश्मन। गनर का अहम है, उनका काम होता है एक फायर करना और अम्युनिशन को ना बर्बाद करते हुए और दुश्मन को जल्दी से जल्दी बर्बाद करना। जो भी चाहे वो हमारे कमांडर अफसर साहब हैं या जेसयू साहब हैं या कमांडर एक दफेदार जो होते हैं वो है, कमांडर एज ए मैं गनर हूँ तो, और ड्राइवर भी है, जो भी है, तो उसमें हम लोग कोई रैंक का मतलब इतना तवज्जो नहीं देते। ये हम सूरतगढ़ में थे जब मैंने एक्सरसाइज करी थी, तो 72 घंटे समथिंग मतलब जो उसमें हम एक एनिमी का रोल कर रहे थे, तो उस दौरान भी हमने 72 घंटे तक मतलब जो है किया था और क्रू एक साथ, ये सारी कार्रवाई हमने एक साथ करी। जाले भी लगाने पड़ रहे थे बार बार और उनको क्लोज भी करना पड़ रहा था, अगर वो ट्रैक बना हुए तो उनको भी मतलब, तो क्रू मिलकर के एक साथ ही काम करना।
For the boss at the Armored Corps Center and School, no lesson is as important as that of tank crew integration.
Because a tank is manned by a crew and not by an individual. You have a commander, you have a gunner, you have a driver, you have an operator in tanks which have got a 4-man crew. So that ethos has to come into him right from the time he enters BTR. So that culture, that bonhomie, that bonding, that crew integration is what is inculcated into him right from the time he steps into the gates of BTR. That we live as a team, we train as a team and we fight as a team. As young officers, we don't live in officers' messes. We live in the OR's lines and with our troop. Because unless you understand the individual thoroughly, operating with him, becomes that much more difficult. So when we go on exercises, it's not that we are staying separately. The crew steps onto a tank as soon as he reaches the KK ranges and steps out of it after 72 hours.
We get inside the beast to bring to you the actual ground report. That and much more on the other side. The Armoured Corps is unique in that it trains every individual, whether an officer or a Jawan, to be able to drive a tank and a vehicle. The staff at Kapurwadi training area inside the Armoured Corps Centre and school is doing just that. Before being assigned regiments with which these men will be associated for the rest of their lives, the senior recruits are taking lessons from their instructors. How would it be to drive a tank, we asked Sawar Manohar Singh Rathore.
सबसे आसान है टैंक चलाना, गाड़ी से आसान है टैंक चलाना।
तो आपको तो मतलब आप दोनों एक्सपीरियंस करते हैं तो क्या लगता है?
टैंक बेहतर सबसे।
Given the logistical difficulties in men exercising firing and mobility maneuvers on tanks all year round, the Ahmednagar-based institute has invested quite extensively in technology. Here, those who undergo training can feel and fire like a tank crew does. You'd never have seen a 40-ton plus tank, this T-72, being stripped down in this manner and fashion. Why, you would ask? The reason is because these gunners who are being trained on this tank have to know as many of the 50,000 plus components that exist within this gun, so that in times of war, so that in times of operation, this gunner and his crew can ensure that this tank is up and about at all times. In an otherwise uniform army, few know that the tankmen have a unique rank structure where regular ranks like Sipahi, Havaldar and Subedar are known as Savar, Dafedar and Risaldar, positions steeped in an era when horses and protective gear instead of tanks and armor plating were in vogue. At the KK ranges on the outskirts of Ahmednagar is unfolding yet another dusty and demanding day. Having spent time around the tank and tankmen, we sought an approval to embark. It did not take much time for the signal to turn green. I'm inside the extremely spacious compartment, the fighting compartment of this Russian T-72 tank. Where I'm sitting is the gunner's position. This is where, using the apparatus, he fires. On my right-hand side is the commander's desk. Now that is where from he issues the orders to move, to fire and to wage the war. Slightly ahead, and I can't possibly show it to you from inside because there isn't any space for the camera to come, under the barrel is where the driver sits. Now it is this 3-member crew which is essentially tasked with operating, and the Indian Army says that they need to operate in the situation so warranted for at least 72 hours. And of course, if the contingency does exist and if the situation so demands, then the limit is basically limitless. It in fact is a measure of a man, a measure of the crew, just how long they're able to stay and not abandon their equipment. As the man in charge of the School of Armoured Warfare, Brigadier Bhanot is at the cutting edge. And quite apart from the glamour and excitement that the prospect of pitched tank battles evoke, the Brigadier gave us a glimpse of what a real tank battle definitely looks like.
There is no respite for tank crews from the day one till the time the war is over. In the summers, the temperatures inside the tank are anything from 8 to 10 degrees higher than outside. So you can imagine if the temperatures in the deserts are touching 50, what is the temperature inside a tank? Fighting through sleep deprivation, fighting through death, destruction and gore all around, and still not losing your mental balance. You're being able to retain at least 60 to 70% of your battle efficiency despite not getting adequate rest and sleep.
But how is what we asked him. For reasons obvious, he did not say much except this.
Regularly, we train them on a weekly basis for being able to keep awake from 24 to 36 hours and doing duties right through. And on a quarterly basis, we train them in terms of 72-hour exercises where nobody sleeps for a wink also during those 72 hours. And at the end of it, they are tested for their battle efficiency.
Naib Risaldar Ravindra Kumar, after spending 23 years in the army, has a few lessons on how to overcome such seemingly insurmountable challenges.
एक ट्रुप लीडर डायरी होती है, उसके अंदर उसका जो पर्टिकुलर फैमिलीज़ का, बच्चों का, उसका हॉबीज़, उसने क्या करना है, पूरा उसके बारे में जानकारी होती है, ताकि अगर उसको छुट्टी की ज़रूरत है तो टाइम से छुट्टी देते हैं, ताकि वो डिप्रेशन में ना आए। उसके घर में अगर पैसे की ज़रूरत है तो पैसे का बंदोबस्त करके एक ट्रुप सब इकट्ठा करके उसको, जैसे किसी की बहन की शादी है या भाई की शादी है, पैसे की प्रॉब्लम है, तो सब मिलके उसको देते हैं और उसको टाइम से छुट्टी भेजने की कोशिश करते हैं।
From clearing one stage of grueling training before the other commences, from volunteering to serve in dimly lit packed compartments to preparing a newer, better batch of younger soldiers to pass the baton to, this is what the face of India's heavy arm, India's armoured arm looks like, and this is what it has to say.
मैं इतने बहुत लकी आदमी जो कि आर्मर्ड कोर आया हूँ। हर चीज़ रैंक के लिए हर चीज़ मेरा आगे पुश करते रहता है उसकी तरफ से। हमारे लिए जो सिविल जनता है हमारे लिए बहुत ज़्यादा सम्मान कर देता है, उसके साथ साथ हमारे को भी ज़्यादा रक्षा करना जरूरी है हमारा।
जैसे अभी हम कहीं एक्सरसाइज वगैरह के लिए जाते हैं तो वहाँ पे क्या होता है, टैंक लगा दिया। अभी जैसे यहाँ के सिविल लोग हैं तो हर एक जगह पे हम खाना भी नहीं बना सकते या कुछ ऐसी चीज़ें आ जाती हैं, लेकिन वहाँ के लोग काफ़ी ज़्यादा हमारे साथ सपोर्ट करते हैं। कोई खाना लेके आता है या कुछ भी ऐसी चीज़।
सीना चौड़ा हो जाता है हमारा जब लोग हमारे बारे में कुछ कहते हैं, तो खुशी के हमारे को लगता है कि हमारे सम्मान में।
So that's it from us then. We hope you met and saw the men who command these monstrous machines, men who will not think twice, men who ultimately are the defenders of India.